You join me today on the main route up from Kandala Park to Mount Kakao, with WUU2K front of mind. I'm mapping out the first leg, at least the leg to the first aid station. Just walking up the hill to begin with, and this is where the first real point of navigation kicks in. Just hang a right at the T-junction and then keep going to the top. Yeah, well, fail number one, I didn't actually get any footage of the major navigational point. However, you can't really go far wrong this early, and if you start going down the hill, you're going the wrong way. So at this stage, you just keep going up. Yeah, I think I just might take the opportunity to do some public service broadcasting, make some informative videos about the various stages, and that way it'll also give me some recceing about the entire route overall. This bit, probably the most continuously challenging, I reckon, of the whole route. There's some other major hills along the way, but from here to Makara, it's a big climb and then some solid undulations, which probably takes about the first 12-14k of the route. This will be pretty busy too, so I'll just keep logging in, probably mix it up a bit, do some time lapse. See how it looks at the end. Okay, check in later. To top of Mount Kakao or Tai Kakao. From here you can see pretty much the rest of the route with WUU2K. Although I'm heading sort of this way. Let's see. Yeah, there's Makara Peak. Just up there, getting down into the valley to Corey Park, just over there. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. And I'm taking the race director's advice to heart, walking the uphills, running the flats and the downhills, and he assures me with appropriate training you'll get through doing it that way. So that aligns quite nicely with my current running psychology. Yeah, as I said earlier, this is probably the high point of the race, and well, the physical chemist in me says it's a net it's all net downhill from here, I would say. If you're looking at, say, an input diagram, we've hit the high point. The end of the reaction is going to be somewhat lower. Got some warnings. There's a few bumps along the way that will require significant input of energy, some delta H's to overcome. Anyway, geek alert, geek warning over. Let's just carry on. Not much navigation to do from here. Just keep on following the Skyline. There's a couple of options for turn-offs, so just be aware, but they're just nicely bookmarked permanently these days. A little WUU2K symbol. I'll find one of those and take a close-up. And I'll just check in later. one of the things I'm trying out is what combination of pack, hydration system and camera carrying arrangements that I want to implement. I like to have my Insta360 always on hand and mounted to my pack, so I can actually do some hands-free, what do they call it, time shift recording. Otherwise you end up running like this the whole time. It gets quite tiring and probably a little bit imbalanced, especially over the course of a marathon. Currently I've got a 1 litre bladder in my pack, which fits quite nicely. But I'm also testing out carrying a couple of soft flasks. Now the first aid station is going to be at the Macra end and Skyline, which is probably 12 or 13k from the start. So really, in reality, I'll probably only need capability for about 1 litre of fluid en route. So maybe I'll dispense with the bladder altogether and just go soft flasks. Here we go. Hey. The other approach that I tend to take is, well, if you're walking, you're drinking. So, to get myself into the psychology of keeping hydrated whilst walking the uphills, that way I can just focus on the running when going along the flats and downhills. And the uphills come along really frequently on this route, so I think that'll be a good good philosophy, good strategy to adopt. Here we are. Here's a WUU2K logo marker post. So these are now dotted all the way around the course, right the way up to Mount Victoria, where the finish line is. So here we go. This is what you should be looking for if all else fails. But if you're like me, there should be plenty of people in front of me. But as long as they don't go wrong, I won't go wrong. Okay, this is flattish. Made it up to Crow's Nest, which is a pretty nice spot. Yeah, there's Coco over there, and then we'll just keep going over that next bump, and then that's kind of it. Maybe one more significant. What's going on? Well, this is me testing out my latest pack, trying to rationalise what I've got. This is the A&EG Solomon clone, although it's probably a bit unfair to call it a clone actually. It's got enough bespoke and unique attributes which I really like, so much so that I'm either looking to get a second version of this one for some level of redundancy, or maybe even get the Windrunner 18 litre. Feels a bit tight. It used a 12 litre rating on this one. It feels like everything's a bit tight, but maybe I can just make better use of it. The bungees and straps to the outside a bit. Here we go, let's just get past them. Hello Bonzo. Hey, how you going? navigation to worry about. There's only the only options you've got are direct through, cutting the corners, or following the hairpins. I mean, it's only yourself cheating right now. Yeah, so it's a great little pack, this one. Size-wise, absolutely large XL size for this particular list. I did try when I had to try them here. It was just too tight. Giving this one a great deal. Because the sizing for those are a little bit different. Extra large, which could possibly probably miss on the trade me might be in that respect. Top off the downs. Let's cross the downs. Quite a little suburb with some great access to the Skyline trails. Yeah, the only negatives really I found for this pack are two really. The invisible zip on the very front of the pack has broken, so now I have to manually fix it by getting my fingers in the gap and not being able to close it entirely. It's kind of open a bit tolerable, and getting to these pockets on the side is just a bit awkward. That may be always the case. I'm quite keen to use the soft flash storage, given that I like to put my camera and phone in the strap pockets. In that regard, this pack is really good because it's got sort of two layers of pockets on the front strap. If you've got the camera handle behind the back one, it's just security. Which I really like. Layer pocket just doesn't have enough strength to camera weight. But since the 360 has got some great stabilisation and it's a 360 camera, all that lights can be improved. Which is great. Okay, that's enough. Hope we're running for now. Let's just get that heart rate back under control. I might check in a bit, talk about my philosophy and approach to running. Mainly that I follow a low heart rate regime, somewhat adapted to hilly climbs. Stay tuned. Next exciting installment. That's the real point. you get to this four-way junction. The left one goes uphill, but the bit that I found really good fun. This way down here, go again to Sorry Walking Bush, WUU2K, and this one takes you back down towards Crofton Downs, Chartwell as it is. So that one there that we're going to be going down, and then you follow that all the way to the bottom of Johnson's Hill, and then into the Heights of Glory. Alright, here's the next point of navigation. Come from this side. There is a flat on there. Actually, there's up there. The other one's going up there. And the other one's going down here. So that takes us to the Sorry Wilson and Glory Cemetery. We want to down the main road. The WUU2K sign. The end. I don't know if you can make it out, but that's Mackerel Saddle. That's the start of the Skyline from one end. I started at Candala at the other end. Just walking down Mackerel Hill. So that's the first leg done. 1 hour 43, I think it said, but that's kind of irrelevant. Wasn't really going for time, just getting through. Not entirely sure how far that was. That was pretty. I think it's probably about 13 or 14 k's. I cheated by taking my scooter to the start line, but that's alright. Try and make it as accurate as possible. There we go, another week done. So I did kind of suggest I might talk a bit about my philosophy and strategy when it comes to running. Well, I've been a follower of the MAF system. Really keen on the old low heart rate, low intensity stuff. I've been doing it for a number of years, but really only in the past 6 months have I managed to find a way to get the consistency, and that requires getting up at 5 o'clock 3 or 4 times a week to get out before the kids wake up. But that's okay. Everything's, well, it's okay in the spring, in the summer. We'll wait to see how enthusiastic I am when winter clicks around. But yeah, so I had to adapt the whole MAF philosophy. So I've got a mass number of 133. I tend to give myself the extra 5 because I've been running consistently injury free for quite a long time, so that takes it to 138. Then I really just kind of align with zone 2 mentality, which gives me a bit of flexibility for getting up and down Wellington's undulating topography. There's not many places that I can run from home which will be flat or interesting, or both. And I do love to get up to Kauko, take some good photos. You get up there early in the morning, you always get something worth taking a picture of. So yeah, that really gives me my sort of max heart rate is somewhere at 185 to 190, which puts my zone 2 at about 150. Zone 2, zone 3 transition 150. So I tend to try to keep it below 150 when going up hills. Some strategies, well, if it's really steep I'll just walk. If it's at all runnable, I mean my body tends to know whether it's going to be at all runnable or not. I might do what I call a 60-40 strategy, which is or 40-60 rather, 40 strides of running, 60 strides of walking to try and allow the heart rate to recover. Yeah, apart from that, just try and follow the map as best I can, cut myself as much slack as possible to get up and down the hills whilst enjoying the runs. And I have to say, I think consistency is a major factor, and as soon as I started getting out 3 or 4 times with some sort of routine, I noticed improvements in my regular block run. Started to improve really quickly, whereas I was 118 for an up and back to Mount Kauko from home. Now my best is 103, typically 105, so I've knocked almost 13 or 14 minutes off my starting pace, and I wasn't completely out of shape beforehand, but just lacked the commitment or the opportunity to get out and do the runs with some level of consistency. Yeah, so there we are. I'll probably talk more about it as I'm logging the other runs that I do. Just with one video a week, I think, is at most. I might start combining the different sections of the WUU2K for a 2-distance trail. But that was that. That's Canal Park to Macro Saddle. And there you'll find the first aid station, I think, for the race. Just before you head up Macro Peak, down Macro Peak and up Wrights Hill. Yeah. And there's Wrights Hill, just up there. Alright, that'll do. That's a lot of footage to get through. Let's see how much the Insta360 app can whittle that down. Alright, Namihi.